Hi everybody, today we will be classifying conics. So we have four types of conic sections that we have looked at. We've looked at circles, ellipses, hyperbolas, and parabolas, and they each have their very own unique equation. So the circle formula right here is very similar. We've got x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. So x and y are both squared, and there's no number in here, but it's both a 1. So they have the same coefficient. So I'm just going to write that down. Same coefficient. Then if I look at an ellipse, see that x minus h and y minus k thing is the same, except for this is 1 over a squared and this is 1 over b squared. So that would make a different coefficient. Spell that right. And then a hyperbola is so similar to an ellipse, right? The first term and the second term are the same. The only difference is that it's a minus. So, and that's the only one with subtraction. So I'm going to say subtraction. And then a parabola is unique because only x is squared in the first equation, or y is squared and then x is not squared, right? That's like an imaginary one. So this only has one squared term. And the reason I wrote these notes is because we're going to be looking at equations and we're going to have to determine what type of conic it is based on the equation. So I wrote these down specifically because that's what's going to help us. So our equations up in our chart are in standard form, but our equations that were given are not necessarily in standard form, so I can't just match the equation. I have to look at the fact that I have here, I've got x and y squared, different coefficients with subtraction. So x and y squared mean it's basically everything but a parabola. Different coefficients means it could be either an ellipse or a hyperbola, but the subtraction only goes with the hyperbola. So anytime you see a subtraction sign there, you're going to automatically say that's a hyperbola. Part B, I've got x squared and y squared with different coefficients and a plus sign. So that has to be an ellipse, right? The different coefficients, oops, no. The different coefficients and a plus sign is always an ellipse. Part C, x is squared, but y is not. So that means one squared term. So that has to be a parabola. And part D, I've got x and y squared with the same coefficient. And same coefficient means circle. So those are pretty easy, and you should be able to do those when we get to class next time we meet. The more challenging part, which isn't too challenging, but it's to write the equation in standard form. And the way we do this is that we have to complete the square. So when I'm done with this, if that's the part that's challenging for you, you may want to look at some of our other videos, including the one where we complete the square. So the first step in completing the square is to move your constant term to the other side. And then I'd also like to regroup the x's with the x's and the y's with the y's. So I'm going to write 4x squared minus 16x. And then I'm going to leave a space because I know I'm about to complete the square. Then I've got minus y squared minus 4y equals 4. And you know what, before I go any further, the first step really should be to determine what type of conic. So since there's a subtraction symbol between x squared and y squared, I know right away this is hyperbola. Hyperbola. Wow, so hard to say. So, and you know what, I really wanted to leave a space here. All right, I'm off to a great start. So I need to complete the square. Now I know I have to have a positive 1 in front of my squared term if I'm going to complete the square. So I have to factor out the GCF of 4. So I've got x squared minus 4x, leave a space. Then I have to take out the negative 1, right? Because I can't have that with the y. So I've got y squared plus 4y, space, equals 4. And now I have to actually complete the square. So to do that, I divide the middle term by 2, which gives me negative 2. Then I square that to go in that last spot, which is positive 4. Remember, what you do on the left side, you have to do on the right side. And I really did 4 times 4 which is 16. So I got to add 16 to the other side. And then I divide my middle term by 2 to get positive 2 squared is positive 4. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. So once I complete the square, the reason I do this is so I can write it as a binomial. So when I divide that middle term by 2, I got negative 2. So that is x minus 2 squared. This trinomial in x minus 2 squared is the same thing. Minus 1 times y plus 2 squared, because this is a positive 2. And then 4 plus 16 minus 4 is 16. But it's not quite in standard form yet. I have to divide everything by 16. And then I have to reduce my fraction. So 4 over 16 is 1 over 4. And then 1 over 16 is 1 over 16. And 16 divided by 16 is 1. So there is my equation for my hyperbola. I want you, the master graphers, to graph that. And then we'll check your graphs when we meet next. So let's do one more example of writing an equation in standard form. And again, we need to subtract or add or move our constant terms to the other side and regroup. So again, wow, I almost skipped it again. What is the first step? You need to figure out the type of conic. This is plus with the same coefficients, 2 and 2, means we have a circle on our hands. So I know exactly what my end equation should look like. So the first thing I'm going to do is subtract the 2 and then regroup. So 2x squared minus 12x plus 2y plus 4y equals negative 2. Remember, I just write those spaces because I know that in order to do this, I have to complete the square. And I factor out the GCF, which is 2, so x squared minus 6x plus 2 times y squared, forgot my squared up there, plus 2y equals negative 2. And then I complete the square. My middle term divided by 2 would be negative 3. Squared is positive 9. 2 times 9 is 18. With the y divided by 2, I get 1. 1 squared is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. So that gives me 2. And then I'm going to go x minus 3 squared plus 2 times y plus 1 squared. Remember, it's always that middle term divided by 2 equals 18. But again, not in standard form just yet. Divide everything by 18 so I know it equals 1. Reduce your fractions, so y plus 1 squared over 9 and x minus 3 squared over 9 because 2 over 18 is 1 over 9. There you have it, your equation of a circle. And I guess I can graph this one with you. So center is at 3, negative 1. Radius is 3, so 3, negative 1. I'm going to go up 3, to the right 3, down 3, to the left 3. So I know I have the best picture I could possibly have of my circle, or at least the best attempt. So again, on your own, graph number 2A. You could also rewatch this, rewind, whatever you need to do. Go look back at a completing the square video so that you're ready for class tomorrow. If you have any questions, make sure you write them down on your note sheet so you remember what to ask when we see you next. Bye.